So 4 days, I could always get back there.
What do you just work on them for a certain length of time, or what?
Yeah, 10 minutes maybe, 10 or 15 minutes.
Oh, that's all you had work on them then.
Yeah, and I've done that for 3 or 4 days, 4 days, and so by Wednesday, in my mind's eye, that hole was totally closed up. So they were going to take him to the doctor the following Thursday, and so that next Thursday after I'd quit working on him. Anyway, Saturday came around, and my son called me, and I said, "Hey, how'd the operation go?" He said, "You know, that's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. You know, we'd taken him last Thursday, and they said it's time to close the hole up. We took him back this Thursday, and they were going to put him in the hospital. And so the nurse was checking him in there. The woman at the desk was checking him in. And the doctor walked out of his office there and said, and just looked in the kid's mouth and said, 'Let's see what we got to do to this kid.' And he looked up there, and he raised up with a puzzled look on his face and said, 'What are you checking him in for?' And the nurse said, 'Well, you're going to do his cleft palate this afternoon.' And he looked again, said, 'He doesn't have a cleft palate. You have the wrong child here, or you have the wrong records,' or, you know. Couldn't believe it. And that kid, that hole had totally closed. And, you know, the kid we've had him over here 2 or 3 times to spend 2 or 3 months with us in the springtime, you know, just do a vacation. And he's in Oxford now, I guess, going to school.
That shows it's been about 20 years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, my gosh.
And one more that you might remember, Dolores, about the Thursday night group we used to go to.
Yeah.
We worked on a little kid that had not been born, and he's still in the uterus.
Yeah.
And they had discovered that his intestines were outside of his body.
Oh, wasn't developing right.
The intestines were outside of his body, and so the whole group, we were working on him just to trying to get the intestines back in, just how the system does.
Did the doctors know that from X-rays or something? Or
yeah, from X-rays and the sonogram or however they done it.
Yeah.
And when that kid was born, those intestines were all the way back in, and all he had was just a little round scar right there where they were out. I thought you might have remembered that.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
But I know, I do remember the group meetings, and you had so many questions because you weren't sure how this was happening or what was causing it. Because, like I said, you were a military man before this, very logical.
Yeah, I knew how to march. That was about all.
Well, I remember your wife, you know, Gladys doesn't mind me telling the story, but when she first came to our meetings, it was like she thought she was coming into a witch's den. It's the devil, because she was not into any of this.
Well, you know how she got there, though. You know, she had that bypass, a quadruple bypass surgery, and I had all the group working on her remotely, and she recovered so fast that the doctors were totally surprised. So then she decided she'd start going to that group.
But, you know, she kept saying, almost like, well, what happened to my husband? This is not the man I'm married to all these years. You know, he's a military man.
Yeah.
All of a sudden now he wants to be a healer.
Yeah.
So it was like a total about-face, a total turnaround.
Yeah, that's true.
But this was what you were supposed to do with the rest of your life, you know?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And we're doing it. We're, like you, we're traveling all over, or I'm traveling.
Yeah.
You know,
I know, because I've met you sometimes in airports. We pass ships that pass in the night. About the only time I really get to talk to you anymore is between planes or something. But you travel all over the world lecturing and teaching this now, don't you?
Yeah, I do. We spent 6 weeks in Australia last year, and then we're back over this year, well, in November, actually, for a month in Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah.
And we've been to Canada, Nova Scotia, all over the place.
And you've been to Europe too, don't you?
Yeah, I've been to England.
Uh-huh.
And we're going to Germany after the first of the year.
You going to work with a translator over there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what I have to do in some of those countries.
In fact, there was a woman here from Germany at our school last week.
Oh, uh-huh.
And she's setting it up, and she's probably going to be our translator.
Well, with me, I've been running into people in the last few weeks or so, the last couple of months, that are pulling me toward China. So I guess that's where I'll be going next year.
I've been invited to Russia 2 or 3 times. I just haven't got it together yet.
Yeah, I've been there. You've been there too, haven't you?
Not to Russia, no.
Okay. Well, it's very possible because they're very much into this.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah.
And there's a lot of this going on all over the world, and that's what people don't understand. It's very, very popular.
I had a teacher here last week. One of my teachers, he's been to Russia several times. He's written a couple of books. It's been translated into Russian.
Yeah.
So, and he says they're really interested in it. So hopefully I'll get over there sometime.
Well, I think you're like me. We're just going to keep doing it, keep going, and traveling and spreading it.
Yeah, that's true, and I think that we'll be drawn to where we're supposed to be. That's all, you know.
Yeah, and that's why. Well, it's like we're supposed to be awakening this, and people everywhere, that the mind is more powerful than people think.
Oh, absolutely.
They don't know how powerful their minds are.
Yeah.
And that when we become sick, we make ourselves sick for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And if we make ourselves sick, we can just as easily cure ourselves once we understand the power we have over our mind.
Yeah, absolutely. You just got to understand that you can connect into that whatever it is, into that energy, and you can.
I always say them. I don't know what other things
them. That's
call
what
it.
I do too. Yeah, they give me all this stuff. They channel all this stuff through me.
Yeah, they work through you.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
And see, I've been talking the last several weeks about John of God down in Brazil.
Yeah.
Because I have people, one friend who was down there and works with him, and it's the same thing.
Yeah, I've met several people that have been down to see John of God.
But I know you don't want to do what he does. This one last lady I talked to said he sees 2,000 people a day.
No, I can't. No.
As much as 8 busloads, but he doesn't see them all. They just come into this one room. Just being in that proximity is enough to heal them.
Yeah.
So here again, I think it has to do with the mind and expectations and all of that.
And their faith, their faith that they're going to get healed, and they heal themselves actually.
And it just works different ways on different people.
Mm-hmm.
But we know it is true. But you know what I was thinking when you were talking about the little boy in England, that this work has to be done with love and compassion.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think it could happen without that.
You can't go into it as a business and be abstract, and you can't distance yourself from the person. You have to really want to help that person.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That's why I don't think negativity can even enter into any of these kind of healings.
No, it can't. You have to be pretty clear. And, and in my classes, and I do 2-day workshops, and I do those all over the world, or, mainly, and I tell those people the very first day that everything that I'm going to tell you is totally impossible by all established scientific standards. And it is. There are no.
I'd love to prove the experts wrong.
And I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. We've had such miraculous healings lately. I mean, absolutely.
But what do they say when you tell them that?
Well, my classes.
Yeah, your classes.
Well, they agree that there are no standards. I mean, how is it possible that I can sit right here and heal a broken back or a broken neck or whatever 1,000 miles or 10,000 miles away? How is that possible? See, there is no scientific standard for that. So it's totally impossible by all rational scientific explanations or whatever.
Yeah, but that's when we get away from what's rational and what's accepted. They're using their logical mind.
Yeah, that's right. And
the other part of them.
It happens all the time, just like the little boy, with a cleft palate. I mean.
Yeah. That's what a lot of people say. Like with John of God, they said the Catholic Church is angry at him because they said nobody's supposed to be able to do these things except Jesus.
Yeah, well, who do you think's doing it?
It's the same thing that he did.
Yeah.
And we all have these abilities.
We all have the ability. People who go to my 2-day workshops, at the end of the second day, most of them can start doing healing work. Actually, truly doing healing work. And
well, I've had 2 classes in the last couple of weeks, and they've been calling me today saying they're getting amazing results. So we're able to pass on what we have learned.
Absolutely, yeah.
But still, Harold, I don't think there's some people out there who are not going to be able to do it. Everyone that comes to the class can't get it. That's just natural.
If you're a skeptic, you're not going to get it.
Or if they're going to use it for the wrong reason.
Yeah. Well, I think the way this healing works, for me anyway, I have to have that love flowing. So, and that pure intent. So I don't think I could ever hurt anybody.
That's the same with me. I couldn't either because we go into it with the right motives.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody, because, the law of manifestation, if you try to hurt somebody, what goes around comes around. You bring it to yourself, see? So it's pretty safe.
And a lot of these things that people put out, I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end when it comes back.
Yeah, that's for sure, yeah.
They say it comes back 10 times.
Yeah.
The amount, so I'd rather have the positive come back than the negative.
Yeah, that's for sure, yeah.
But you said, you did say when we set up the show we were going to reminisce, and I said certainly because we've known each other a long time.
Yeah, I think we are.
But you said you also had some other stories that I hadn't even heard.
Well,
you want to bring up some more of those?
Yeah, I could tell you a lot of stories.
Well, what are some of the most amazing, besides the ones you've already talked about?
One of the most amazing that I've done recently, and this is absolutely hard for anybody to believe, but it's documented. I've done a workshop in Conway, Arkansas. This woman, she has a couple of sons. One was in Iraq, and one was in construction down in New Mexico.
Yeah.
And so, she was talking about her sons and, just really proud of them and all that. And so after that workshop, we had another one the following weekend or whatever it was in Marina Del Rey in California.
Yeah.
And so we had gotten there on a Thursday, and, they don't feed you on the airplane much anymore. So we went to the restaurant. We were hungry, and I just ordered some food. And my cell phone rang, and it was this woman from Conway, Arkansas, and she said, I'm on my way to El Paso. And I said, what's going on? She said, my son, who's in construction in New Mexico, he's a heavy equipment operator, but he had a real bad accident, broke his neck, he's in a coma, knocked a big chunk out of his head, and they airlifted him to El Paso, so she's driving down there. And that's a long ways from here.
Yeah.
And she said, would you work on him? She said, the doctors, they're not sure they can do anything with the neck because it's broken so bad. It's just really, really mangled up, and he's just in a coma. And
you probably figured he'd be paralyzed anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, he's in a coma. He probably couldn't have moved.
Yeah.
Asked me to work on him. So we just went on up to the room. And I just sat in a meditative state. And the way I do that, I just bring the person to me, the essence of that person. Okay?
Yeah.